Welcome to Fantasy Baseball, Baseball, Baseball. And part of Fantasy Baseball, Baseball, Baseball is the baseball, baseball, baseball part, Steve. And in Major League Baseball, today is a trade deadline in 5 minutes.
It's been super active. The deadline's today at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. West Coast. That's where we are. And yeah, it's been pretty exciting. I mean, there's been some good trades this week already, but past 24 hours, everybody seems to be getting in on it.
Absolutely. And I always love the last day. And, sometimes things go on, and happen a few days before the trade deadline. And the biggest deal happened 2, 3 days ago in the Scooble deal. We haven't talked about that, obviously. We haven't talked baseball. Let's get your quick input on that, Steve. Scooble was traded by the Tigers to the Dodgers, and a lot of people are saying, I'm not going to get into the Dodgers and how much they spend. I'm not going to get into any of that. That's how it's set up. We're not going to get into that. But we are going to get into what they gave up to get what they get, and couldn't have other teams given up what they gave up?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think the
there's
Tigers got that much, is what I'm trying to say.
I would agree, but on one hand, it's like um it's a 2 month rental, right?
It is.
So there's usually a ceiling on what you can get for a 2 month rental to begin with. Now, granted, Scooble's what the best pitcher of the past 5 years. I
Yeah.
think is that fair to say?
Back to back Cy Young. So there's that. At least the last 2 years.
Um, so he's a difference maker and a game changer. And when if you're rolling into the playoffs, and if you're thinking you're going to throw him out there for 3 or 4 starts, 4 or 5 starts in 3 weeks of playoffs, I mean, yeah, that's pretty awesome. I don't really know the Dodgers guys they gave up, but it seems
Teams.
like I
They
would
got.
have liked maybe a little more of a return for Scooble.
And there's a possibility they couldn't have gotten anything more. And but so there's a question, other teams not trying to get it. But from what I've read, I mean, they're definitely some upside guys. I hope they all prove us wrong in a decade, and we talk about them and go, remember 10 years ago we were talking about that boy River? Was one guy's name is River or something? He's really good. But I thought they should have waited it out more because I think if they would have waited, I think a team may have panicked and thrown in that extra prospect wanting to get Scooble because he's still available on Monday morning.
Yeah. Or just, if some of the other teams you're talking to, if they're just like, nah, go ahead, take it. We're not beating that. Well, then it is what it is,
Right.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
you don't want to lose them for nothing.
Right.
And the Dodgers did have 9 prospects in the MLB's pipeline's top 100. So of all the teams that could trade prospects to get them, they're the ones who have the most.
They did.
So
They did. They have. Listen, Bryce Harper said it. You can go see the video somewhere. And he said, listen, the Dodgers do it right. You know, they have a good TV contract. They have a good farm system. They have a good coaching staff. They have good players. They have a good fan base. He's just basically saying they went out and got them. And so good for the Dodgers. I'm not going to get into the financial thing, but then after that, it's been a crazy day of trading. Um, a couple trades yesterday and stuff. What trade do you? Let's talk about the Cubs got Gossman. There's one. Cubs still trying to win.
yeah, the Cubs Cubs are good, and they've been kind of crushed with injuries, especially in their rotation. And they needed someone, an anchor. Gausman's not really having a great year, but his floor is high. He's a playoff performer. It made sense for Toronto to flip him. Kind of felt bad for him because just a couple of days ago he was saying, I don't want to leave. He's like, I love it here. I want to stay here. I'm a fan of the city. I don't want to leave Toronto. But he's like, I understand it's a business. And then like 2, 3 days later, he gets traded.
Right. If they win, he'll like it. But I think you mentioned to me in another format that DeGrom was possibly agreed to with a deal, Rangers and Braves, and DeGrom kind of felt that way about Texas and vetoed it with his veto power.
Yeah. DeGrom, when he signed that big deal with Texas a few years ago, got a no trade clause. He flexed it today. Supposedly, that's what the reports say. The Rangers had a deal with the Braves set. They approached DeGrom. DeGrom said no, he didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave. Just
Wow.
avoided it.
I mean, that's big. And wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Bummer for both teams in some ways. I just saw this one thing. The White Sox got Brazobin from the Mets and Brenton Doyle from the Rockies. Brenton Doyle used to be highly thought of.
Yeah, sure. And that makes sense. We had said things a few times like Rockies have a bunch of young, unproven, but still young enough to have high upside bats. They've got several on the roster now. They've got a few more in their minor leagues at AAA. So it made sense to like start moving one or two of them at least, you
Yeah, I
know?
agree. I think it was a good trade. And then here's a trade that I really like for the Yankees. Luis Garcia Jr. was traded for prospects.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Luis, it was amazing in just in one context because let's say not to get too fantasy related, but me and you were in a big money fantasy league that we do in auction in Vegas in person every year with a bunch of our longtime friends. And on my draft sheet, when it was all said and done, the next day when I was going through things, the number one ranked player on my sheet, the highest ranked, I should say, the highest ranked player
That was
who
after we
wasn't
drafted, who wasn't drafted.
at yeah, the highest ranked guy available after our auction, who was still available by my sheet, was Luis Garcia. It was him.
Wow. And do you know what Garcia's rank is now in our league?
I haven't looked, but I know he's been on a heater for like 2 months, right?
Yeah. Luis Garcia is ranked number 30.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also too, because I I was waiting at the time for Bichette to get third base eligibility
No,
because
I'm
we only had a
sorry.
shortstop.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
So
You're waiting.
I was like, I was like, okay, he has to play 5 games before I have a third baseman. I didn't draft a third baseman. So I actually picked up Luis Garcia Jr. since he was the highest ranked guy still out there. And I played him at third base until Bichette got third base eligibility, and then I cut him.
Wow. Luis Garcia
Yeah.
Jr. Is having a heck of a year. He's got 23 homers, 76 ribbies. He's batting 283, 20 doubles, 48 runs. Just a great year. He is ranked 30. So that was a big pickup. The Yankees needing some offense with some of their big boppers hurt.
Oh my God, they've got Judge, Stanton, Bellinger all out on the IL. Yeah, I mean it's really impressive that they're hanging on as good as they are. Although their offense has been just a shell of itself since Judge went down.
Blue Jays traded for Suriano from the Angels. So the Blue Jays trading and picking up. I mean, Suriano's
Yeah,
under contract for next year too.
I think 2 more years. I
Yeah,
think
two more. Yeah,
right.
I think you
Yep.
might be right.
So yeah, I get it. Like you're trading away kind of a fan favorite who wants
Yeah,
to stay because he's
Gossman.
about to be a free agent, Gaussman, and you trade him for some minor league pieces. Then you flip some minor league pieces to the Angels for a guy who's kind of having a breakout year, and then you still have him under team control for 2 more seasons.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, they're not out of it yet in the wild card, but so they can still be competitive. Dodgers required a backup catcher because I heard Rushing could be injured, and of course they're still waiting for their main catcher to come back. Um, Brewer Braves acquired a reliever. Let's see what other. Oh, this was a big one that happened recently. Rays acquired Liam Hicks from the Marlins.
Yeah, right. And they already had. I mean, I know he's cooled off a lot, but what was the guy they had? Forte was their catcher,
The
right?
the
No,
the guy.
the Rays.
Oh, the
Like
Rays.
they had a
Yeah,
catcher. They had
who
a
was
catcher
that?
that was playing good for a while, but I mean, he wasn't playing as good as Hicks. You know.
No. Well, Hicks, I think I don't know how he is defensively, but he's definitely had a good offensive year. He's totally cooled down from his hot start, but he's still producing. And then a big trade that happened just recently was Ward was picked up by the Mariners for basically minor leaguers, I believe.
Yeah, Taylor Ward, what a difference! Because last year he hit like over 30 home runs for the Angels, right? It
Yeah,
was, I
yes,
mean,
he
he
did.
had the terrible batting average and all that for sure, but he was a great source of power. Goes to Baltimore, loses all the power, but all of a sudden his like walk rate, his swinging strike percentage is super low, walk rate super high, his swing and miss has dropped. So it's like he's becoming a more selective, efficient hitter, and his
Right.
on base is through the roof.
Yeah, he's second in
But
the
he just,
major leagues in walks. I brought up to you earlier, which is just crazy.
yeah, and I think he's like sixth, fifth, or sixth in on base percentage. But yeah, I mean, he didn't even have 10 home runs yet. So what a weird, just a weird thing. But the Mariners needed a right-handed hitter who could handle lefties. The guy's got like I think his ops for against lefties it's over 800, maybe 850.
Wow.
So they needed that real bad, and none of the three guys they traded were in their top 30 prospects.
So Steve, he went from the Angels
So
to Baltimore, a different a batting coach, because the last 2 years he's had 156 games, 157 games played, over 500 bats each year, and he had 63 and 75 walks. This year he's got 87 walks already in 111 games. I'm thinking there's a batting coach who said maybe you should approach things different, Taylor.
yeah, I must have.
Yeah,
And
and it's
the
working for
and
him,
the
really. I think. I mean, the 30 home runs is great, but when you're batting so low, I mean, that on base is big.
it's definitely like he's definitely contributing basically the same amount of value. It's just you got to use them somewhere different in the order, right? Like if you're not going to hit home runs, then you shouldn't be batting fourth or fifth anymore.
Right.
If you're going to get on base that much, then you probably should be hitting first or second, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, and he probably will be. So the Angels traded Adele, their longtime player, longtime prospect in some ways, to the Guardians.
Yeah, how old's Adele? He can't be older than 25 yet, right? Is
I'm
he?
going to look right now. Joe Adele's age is exactly 27.
Oh, wow. I would not have guessed he was that old already.
So, this is a decent
Wow.
glove, decent bat, good pickup for the Guardians. Obviously, still in the playoff run. What do you think about the Phillies trade, Steve?
The Phillies trade?
Yes, with the Giants.
Who'd they get? Which was that one?
Luis Arias.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, I mean, Arias, Luis Arias, however you say his last name, I mean, that guy is really the last true great hitter. I
He's
mean,
you know what
he,
Mattingly described him of? He's kind of, not to say it, he's in the mold of Gwynn and Boggs.
yeah, that that absolutely works.
So, and I like
You
that
know,
trade for the Phillies. I'm a Phillies fan. We needed some hitting. I think we need people getting on. I like him. He's been playing great second base this year, by the way. We also picked up Caleb Killian, who is actually pitching decent for the Giants. But the one thing about this move is it's a shuffle, Steve, unless they made another trade in the last 5 minutes. And sometimes, trades are announced within an hour after, but, they, even though it was made before three, they're not announced. They got to get to the league office. So, Bohm going from third to first, Harper going to the
yeah,
outfield, Stock going from second to third, so Arias can play second. And I'm all for Arias has been great this year. As you know, we've knocked him defensively in years past, but he's been a great second baseman this year. But that big shuffle and Harper going to the outfield scares me. We can't afford him to get injured.
yeah, that's a lot of moving just to get a better bat in the lineup.
Yeah.
And I know, but realistically, the only reason Harper came from infield or right field to the first base anyway was after he had the surgery on his throwing arm.
Right. And
But
we got, we let go of Hoskins.
that's got to be like, yeah, but that's got to be like
Traded.
3 years ago now, right? So I
Right.
mean,
And he's become a good first baseman.
sure,
Yeah, he is. He's
yeah.
a good
I,
defensive
I
first baseman.
I'm just saying, really, the only real risk defensively by doing all of that is just to make sure that Harper's arm is still capable of throwing from the outfield.
That's his arm, and I think that big injury was his elbow, wasn't it? So,
Yeah,
uh, Pirates picked up Weaver, and he was one of the most sought out relievers out there, and the Pirates got him from the Mets.
I mean, look, the Pirates have one of the cheapest ownership groups in baseball. They have for a long time. They've tiptoed about around being good every now and then, and they never do anything. And obviously, trading for some relief pitcher isn't exactly moving the needle. But
But
it's so nice to see. It's nice to see the Pirates being buyers when they actually have a shot to be good.
yeah, to make the playoffs. That extra revenue in the playoffs means a lot. And plus, it gives. Listen, I'm a big, firm believer that most teams that win a championship at least tasted the playoffs in previous years. So it's very important for the players to get that taste. The Rays are set to acquire the reliever Wells from the Orioles. I'm just seeing right now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Orioles kind of out of it. So that is kind of interesting.
Well,
Uh,
what was the other trade? I saw the Pirates traded. They traded
for
O'Neill Cruz, I
Devell,
think.
they picked up Duvall from the Pirates picked up Duvall from the Giants.
No, they
That
got Duvall from the Yankees.
from the
He was in
Yankees?
that.
Oh, was he in there? He used to
Yeah.
pitch. Yeah,
But so they made another trade with O'Neill Cruz, and let's see, O'Neill Cruz. Do
Red Sox traded
O'Neill Cruz.
Mayer
Oh
for
yeah,
reliever Miller. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Well, the Red Sox made a couple of things today.
Yeah, that's a small
O'Neill
trade. Let's talk
Cruz.
about that bigger trade while you're looking up. At I'll at least. Did you find it? Adley.
No,
How
I
do you say
didn't.
his last name? Rushman.
Adley Rushman.
Adley Rushman, a number one overall pick, I think, once upon a time, traded from the Orioles, who have a couple other decent catchers in their in the minors and in the majors, to the Red Sox.
Hmm.
This is a big pickup for the Red Sox. He's good. He's healthy, I believe. And the Red Sox really were weak, at least offensively, at the catcher position.
Yeah, the Red Sox have been bad at catcher. I mean, they've been going with the tag team of Connor Wong and Omar Narvaez. And Wong has been league average, so you can't really complain with what he's been doing. But Narvaez has been like bad defensively, bad offensively. And I mean, yeah, so the fact that they were rolling him out there, 3 out of every 10 games, 4 out of every 10 games, that was a problem. And now they traded three of their top six prospects.
Yeah, that's
Three of
big.
their top six prospects.
Yeah, that's
And they
big.
had to throw Narvaez in there too, so they had a catcher to back up. I guess Baltimore's going to go with Basayo now at full
Yep,
time at catcher.
sure. And he's got
But
upside.
sure, he's got a great bat, but I suppose he's a stinky glove. But yeah, no, I mean, I love it for the Red Sox because I mean, Rushman isn't awesome because he's had some injuries, as any catcher are prone to, but he's had some that have slowed him down already. He's only 28 years old. He's under contract for 1 more year. He's a
Nice.
switch hitting catcher who is great defensively, great at calling a game, and like his even having this down year, he's
Still, yeah,
still
yeah.
above average. Like he's an above average catcher during a down year. So that'll be a major plus for sure. That's a win.
Major plus. I'm sure as a Red Sox fan, you're really happy about that. One trade I missed from yesterday is Freddie Peralta picked up by the Rays, one of the better teams in the majors, and got him from the Mets for prospects.
Yeah. And if there's any team that could turn Freddie Peralta back into what he's supposed to be, isn't it the Rays?
Yep.
Right?
Yep, you are so correct. The Rays are a magical organization in my mind. The Phillies also got Brooks Raley from the Mets. Not two trading partners. They don't trade together much, but they did. Twins got Jeff Hoffman from the Blue Jays.
Well, Hoffman, I mean, he's been so streaky lately. I mean, I know he has been great in recent years, but this year I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't have he probably has 8 blown saves this year, I bet.
Yeah, Hoffman, but he's definitely can be good. Dodgers got Chris Bub. That was for prospects, by the way. Chris Bubik was traded for by the Dodgers, left-handed pitcher for Carlos Duran. Don't know Duran much. Real quick, what about your Marcelo Meyer trade for Eric Miller? Didn't you like Meyer?
Yeah, I mean, Meyer was a guy that the Red Sox drafted fourth overall like 4 years ago. He was like a high school kid, maybe five now.
Yeah,
Um, and now he's like 22, 23, and he's been injury prone. And he rakes good defensively at third, short, and second. So that's always been a benefit. Like, hey, he's good all over the infield, so we can give him time to develop his bat. But, I just think now they've got other options and
yeah.
they're trying to win, and they were ready to move on and wish him the best.
Well, Miller has had a breakout season with the Giants bullpen with a 2.76 ERA and 45 strikeouts in 32 and two-thirds inning.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Red Sox bullpen's been pretty good too with Chapman and Whitlock back
Well, you
there.
just got a really good lefty.
Well, I mean, I like that a lot then because if, yeah, I mean, I love that trade then. If I'm talking about being effective for this year right now, that
Yeah.
sounds like a no-brainer.
Here's an interesting trade. Dalton Varsho was traded by the Blue Jays to the Astros, and Spencer Arrighetti was traded to the Blue Jays.
Wow. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, two decent sized
that
names we've all heard of, especially in
the
fantasy.
Astros are currently in the playoffs. They lead the West, the AL West.
Right.
So, and Varsho's a free agent at the end of the year, but he's one of the better defensive outfielders in the game.
Yeah.
And Arrighetti, I mean, he's been rough the past year and a half. I mean, I know he's still young enough to find that groove, but yeah, I
He's
guess
had a rough
Toronto
year,
thinks they can do it.
7.5, 4.60 ERA. So that's been tough. But a decent sized trade. Dustin May and Jojo Romero were picked up by the Brewers for prospects from the Cardinals.
That's a good thing for the Brewers. I mean,
Yeah.
Brewers have the best record in baseball, but they still got, tinkering around the edges and making things a little better.
Yeah, I think
I know
they,
May's a free agent at the end of the year too, so that's just straight up rental stuff.
yeah, it's just rental stuff. They also, the Brewers got Antonio Senzatella from the Rockies for
Oh,
prospects. And he's had a good year, if I remember correctly.
yeah, Sensatella he was awesome earlier, kind of chilled out a bit down recently, but he's one of those guys who's got great stuff. He induces a lot of weak contact and a lot of ground balls, so his low strikeout rate doesn't really scare you that much because he's got a low walk rate and he induces weak contact. He's one of those junk type of guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but I love that the Brewers are stocking up with pitchers. I mean, they're going for it.
Yeah, and I think too that's kind of they don't really have a great staff, right? I mean, they got a good staff,
Right.
and then they got Mizorowski.
Right.
So it makes sense that they'd want as much bullpen depth as they could muster.
Just shout out to Mizorowski for, just really bagging on the Angels mound because it probably was bad. So kudos to him. Here's a big trade, Steve. The Guardians got Foster Griffin from the Nationals for one, two, three, four prospects.
Who got him? The
Guardians.
Guardians?
Yeah.
The Guardians traded 4 prospects to the Nationals
For
for
Foster
Foster
Griffin,
Griffin.
who's 12-3 this year with a 3.06 ERA and a 107 WHIP.
Wow, what are the Nationals doing? I'm kind of shocked.
Well, they got. I don't know what Griffin's status is contract wise. I'm surprised they didn't keep him. They've been on a losing streak for a couple of weeks ago. They're not sure if they're buyers or sellers, but they got rid of Foster Griffin. They picked up four guys, all minor leaguers. Clay Holmes was traded with Tyrone Taylor to the Cubs from the Mets, and the Mets got Jefferson Rojas.
Yeah, Mets are just, they're in full tear down mode. They had the second like, highest payroll in the league, and they finished at they're just terrible.
They're
So
terrible. They're just terrible. And Rojas has some upside for them, I believe.
they got like Mets got like 3 to 5 guys that they're not that are like untouchable, and everybody else could be moved.
Yankees get Helio Ramos from the Giants for two guys who look like they're in the minor leagues, Henry Lane and Caden Kent.
Oh, that's a nice band-aid for the Yankees because, like
I
we were saying, they've got so many outfielders out injured,
Yeah, Ramos was one of those guys
and
who's definitely more valuable as a real player than he is a fantasy player. He's definitely a decently solid outfielder, and that is a good get for the Yankees. I agree. This is the big one. Padres still in the hunt, right, Steve? In the playoff hunt and wild card, they got Robbie Ray for Miguel Mendez and Jonio Hernandez, two guys I think are basically minor leaguers.
yeah, Robbie Ray, another free agent at the end of the year, but he has been pitching good. Like I mean, it's same thing. There's certain numbers where you're like, I don't like that, I don't like that, but he gets a lot of ground balls, and his control's good, and this and that. So yeah, I guess San Diego's there. I know their rotation has been kind of thin.
Yep.
A lot of guys have been out injured for most of the year. They
Robbie
needed
Ray,
some,
former Cy Young winner, when he's on, he's on.
and they were only like what San Diego? Are they a game out of a wild card
Yeah,
slot?
yeah,
Maybe.
they're definitely a short stone's throw away. Other trades, smaller trades. Ryan Zephyr-John was acquired by the Cubs from the Angels for Moises Ballesteros, who's used to be a decent
Hmm.
catching prospect, I believe, and another minor leaguer. Zephyr-John, whose name is fun to say, I think he is a very hard thrower, like triple digits.
Yeah, I don't know much about Zephyr John, but yeah, Ballesteros was a big bat prospect like 2 years ago, a year ago, maybe even. Big bat prospect who they were like, he probably won't stay at catcher, that he'll probably have to move off catcher, and he might ultimately be a DH first base type, but he was a bat that people were like, he's the type of bat you go out of your way to get him in your lineup. So
Yeah, no, I like that. So then earlier trades, a day or two again, Tyler is at Mall or Molly was picked up for the Braves. They need somebody to eat up some innings for a minor leaguer, Anthony Molino, and the Blue Jays got Jamison Talion from the Cubs for cash considerations.
yeah, Jameson Tyone has
Talion, thank you.
God, I mean, it seems like I'm gonna guess and be like, how many teams has he played on? Would this be his fifth team? Yeah,
Yeah,
Jameson Tyone.
I would guess. We can always take a look. Let's just see real quick. So listen, he did have a couple good years, didn't he? But he's been with the Pittsburgh, New York, Chicago, and now a new team. So his fourth. You were close.
Oh, all right. Yeah, he total at this point, I think he's a good definition of a journeyman,
Yeah,
right? Type of guy.
absolutely.
Like you're gonna look back and be like, oh, Jameson Tyone was in the league for 17 years. Who
Yeah.
would have thought that?
Well, there was the Blue Jays stocking up on pitchers too, probably under contract for next year. The Blue Jays, they've traded for a few pitchers after trading Gossman away. Earlier in the week, Luis Castillo was traded by the Mariners for Sir Anthony Dominguez, Nolan Jones, and Boston Smith. You live in Seattle, Steve. What do you think about that trade for the Mariners? I mean, they got rid of Castillo's contract.
Yeah, I mean it's a bummer in the sense that it was great when he got here. It was a straight up win. He became the ace of the staff, and it was awesome. But now here it is, like 4 years later. They've got too many pitchers. They've got the two best pitching prospects in baseball are Mariners, and they had to make room. They were looking for any type of bat help. They didn't really get that, but they got a prospect and they got Chicago to eat the entire salary.
And that's
So
great. And they got some okay talent in return, some guys who could contribute.
yeah, they got a double A catcher guy. between single A and double A, he had 22 home runs in like 70 games.
Right,
And his
right.
ops is like like 1100 and he's 23. So that would be the prize. But really it's
Yeah, a dump.
getting next year's $25 million salary off the books when you really didn't need him because you were forcing a 6-man rotation. So
Yeah.
like you didn't need him, you know?
No, I like Castillo myself. I hope he does well for the White Sox. I used to be a fan of him. He used to have some great years, of course. So we'll see if can help the White Sox, who are totally in the playoff picture. Lane Thomas was picked up by the Braves with Bailey Falter from the Royals for Lucas Brown and Carter Holton. Decent outfield pickup for them. There's the Duvall pickup for the Pirates from the Yankees for guys who are younger, Alfonso and Cruz. Bo Naylor was traded. Brewers got him for a guy
Yep.
named Craig Yoho and Blake Perkins. Just wanted to say Craig's name, Yoho. Bo Naylor with some decent upside for the Brewers. There's the Brewers getting more talent for the stretch run.
Yeah, and they gave up what Blake Perkins had become kind of like an odd man out with their outfield depth. Hadn't been playing a lot as he had the past couple of years.
Right. Yeah. Blake Perkins, for a while, they thought very highly of him.
Yeah, for sure. But then he became a platoon guy. Then he became like a backup guy, and so yeah, he was movable.
And then July 30th, AJ Minter was picked up by the Twins. Jake Rogers picked up by the Orioles. And Logan O'Hoppe and Chase Silseth the Rangers got from the Angels for a minor leaguer. That's a big one for the Angels because they're finally giving up on their catcher, O'Hoppe.
Yeah. Well, and plus the Angels, it's clear with their moves, right? They've definitely accepted we have to use this opportunity to get restock the minor leagues. At least they're
It's
doing that.
it's nice to see. It's nice to see the Angels do that. And there was some speculation Trout would be traded, but not. And who knows if he would have vetoed it. He seems to like Anaheim, but you would think he'd want to win eventually. So, Steve, those are the trades in the major leagues so far, and the trade deadline's done. We may see a trade that goes through that sometimes they'll contact the league office. They're still trying to work it out, but they kind of get it into the league office in time, and we find out later. But that's pretty much the trade market. A lot of trading this year.
Yeah, super active. I dig it.
I
I
dig
mean,
it
as a
too. I
matter of
like
fact,
seeing people get rid of these
after we get
contracts.
after we get off the phone, I'll probably go. Well, I'll go take care of a couple things, and I'll probably sit down on my laptop and read about a bunch of these trades.
And it's always neat to see in a year to four which of these prospects pan out.
Yeah, because as we know, most of the time prospects don't pan out,
They
right?
don't. They
I
do
mean, they
not, Steve.
don't like let's just take it with the Red Sox, right? A year and a half ago, they had Roman Anthony, Kristen Campbell, and Marcelo Mayer. And I think all three of those guys, like they were in the top five Red Sox prospects, and they were all like top 50 prospects in MLB. Now
Right.
here it is a year and a half later. Campbell turned into a disaster and he's middling at AAA. Mayer just got traded, and Roman Anthony has been out with some type of hand injury after getting hit by a pitch, and he's been dealing with that, and he's been out for the whole year basically.
So you just never
So
know because of injury, because they don't pan out. And then sometimes these guys 3 years later, like a Jordan for the Cardinals, they pan out later. So you just never know. The prospects are traded for expiring contracts. A lot of that going on. That was a Major League Baseball trade update. I'm Dan O'Day along with Steve Romano. Baseball, baseball, baseball. Cheers.
have a good one.